Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 Okay, so today is a special day. Why is that not working? Oh, yeah. Today is the day Srila Prabhupada took sannyas. It's also Bhadra Purnima, and it is also Vishvarup Mahotsava. Vishvarup was the brother of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and that's also the day where he took sannyas. Or some say that's the day when he left his body. There are different opinions, but some say maybe it's both. The day where he took sannyas and that some years later he left his body at the same day. So it's still a mystery. Vishvarup was the brother of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and his identity is very much connected to Nityananda. It is said that there is actually an expansion of Nityananda, because he was like the brother of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, being born also from Sachi Devi. But at the same time, we know Nityananda was also the brother of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So he's expansion of Lord Nityananda. And he was actually, his presence in Chaitanya Lila was making the pastimes of Lord Chaitanya different, was making it exciting. We know that at the age of 16 years old, Vishvarup left the house to take sannyas, and that was because of the good association of Advaita Acharya, who was all the time speaking about Lord Krishna, Harikatha, and then Vishvarup just decided, okay, the parents were actually thinking of marrying him, and then he said, no, sorry, I'm going. So he just left and took sannyas, and then later it was like a big anxiety for Sachi Devi that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would also take sannyas, and she was always afraid when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would go to the house of Advaita Acharya, because she always thought, what if my boy takes sannyas? So the presence of Vishvarup in the pastimes of Chaitanya was quite important one. And we know that later on, when Vishvarup took sannyas, his name, he got another name, that was Shankararanya, and he was traveling in South India, and some say that he left his body merging into the body of Lord Nityananda, and some say merging into the deity of Pandurang. Pandurang, that was the place in South India where he was at that time. So this is a little bit about Vishvarup. Today's Bhadra Purnima. It's a very auspicious day to give gifts of Bhagavatam, Srimad Bhagavatam. If you have few sets too much, you can gift it to someone. There is a verse saying that anyone who gives a Srimad Bhagavatam on this particular day, his return back to Godhead is assured. It is said we should put first the Bhagavatam on a golden throne, and then worship him, and then offer it to someone. And because we are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, I would like to recite this time. Sometimes I recite here, we have just few prayers to Srimad Bhagavatam. This is actually from Sanatan Goswami, Krishna Lila Stava. And he has few more that I found are very beautiful. So just because today is Bhadra Purnima and connected to Srimad Bhagavatam, just like to recite those few prayers. It's not long. O Srimad Bhagavatam, O nectar churned from the ocean of all Vedic scriptures, O most prominent transcendental fruit of all the Vedas, O you who are enriched with the jewels of all spiritual, philosophical conclusions. O you who grant spiritual vision to all the people of the world, O life breath of the Vaishnava devotees, O Lord, you are the sun which has arisen to dispel the darkness of Kali Yuga. You are actually Lord Krishna, who has returned among us. So Lord Krishna left this planet, but he returned in the form of Srimad Bhagavatam and the holy name, of course. O Srimad Bhagavatam, I offer respectful obeisances unto you. By reading you, one attains transcendental bliss. For your syllables rain pure love of God upon the reader. You are always to be served by everyone, for you are an incarnation of Lord Krishna. O Srimad Bhagavatam, O giver of saintliness to the unsaintly, O uplifter of the very fallen, please do not ever leave me. Please become manifested upon my heart and my throat, accompanied by pure love of Krishna. And there is also, because today is the day Srila Prabhupada took sannyas, there is actually described that once before Prabhupada came to the West, someone heard that Prabhupada wanted to go to America and say, oh Swami, no, not Swamiji, oh Abhay Babu, we heard you are going to America. And Srila Prabhupada said, no, Srimad Bhagavatam is going to America and I will follow, I will go with him. So that's a little bit about Bhadra Purnima, and now we have the good connection to enter Srimad Bhagavatam reading, and then at the end we'll speak a little bit about Prabhupada taking sannyas. Maybe if I can ask Vyapi Prabhu if you could kindly close the door of the Pujari room, that would be super. Thank you. Okay, so today we have on the board 6:15:7. Yeah, if you can turn it a little bit so that Ananga Manjari can also see it. Oh, yeah. So this is still Narada and Angira Muni who are instructing Chitraketu. That's a verse quite mystical, quite allegorical. So please repeat after me the word by word. Dehena, by the body. Dehena, of the father, possessing a material body. Rajan, O king, Dehat, from the body of the mother. Deha, another body. Abhijayate, takes birth. Bijat, from one seed. Eva, indeed. Yata, just as. Bijam, another seed. Dehi, a person who has accepted the material body. Ataha, the material elements. Iva, like. Sevastaha, eternal. Translation and purport. First we can recite it. Dehena dehino rajan. Dehena dehino rajan. Deha deho bijayate. Deha deho bijayate. Bijat evayata bijam. Bijat evayata bijam. Dehi artha ivasasvata. Dehi artha ivasasvata. Dehena dehino rajan. Dehat deho bijayate. Bijate vayata bijam. Dehi artha ivasvataha. This. Dehena dehino rajan. Dehat deho vijayate. Vijayate vajan.
Dehena dehino rajan.
Dehena dehino rajan.
Dehat deho vijayate.
Dehat vidyo vijayate.
Yat eva yata viyam vijam.
Vijat eva yata vijam.
Dehi ata iva savata.
Dehi artha iva sasvataha. Dehena dehino rajan. Dehat deho vijayate. Eva yata vijam. Dehi eva yata sasvataha. Thank you. So here is the translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. So we can visualize Narada Muni and Angira Muni. They are now in front of King Chitraketu, and King Chitraketu is like dead. He's just so depressed and so sad that his son has left the body, and now they are speaking to him. As from one seed, another seed is generated, O king. So from one body, the body of the father, through another body, the body of the mother, a third body is generated, the body of a son. As the elements of the material body are eternal, the living entity who appears through those material elements is also eternal. So it's quite mysterious, because here they are saying that the material body is eternal. But is that eternal, material body? I mean, soul, yes, material body, temporary usually, huh? Not eternal, material body. But here he said the material body is eternal. The material body, the elements of the material body are eternal. That might give us a clue of the difference. And Prabhupada is kind also in the purport, it gives us a little bit a clue about these material elements being eternal. So the purport, from Bhagavad Gita we understand that there are two energies, namely the superior energy and inferior energy. Inferior energy consists of the 5 gross and 3 subtle material elements. The living entity who represents the superior energy appears in different types of body through those elements by the manipulation or supervision of the material energy. Actually, both the material and spiritual energy, matter and spirit, exist eternally as potency of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The potent entity is the Supreme Person. Since the spiritual energy, the living being, who is part and parcel of the Supreme Lord, desire to enjoy this material world, the Lords give him a chance to accept different types of material bodies and enjoy or suffer in different material conditions. Factually, the spiritual energy, the living entity, who desire to enjoy material things, is manipulated by the Supreme Lord. The so-called father and mother have nothing to do with the living entity. As a result of his own choice and karma, the living being takes different bodies through the agency of so-called father and mother. The verse again. As from one seed another seed is generated, O king, so from one body, the body of the father, through another body, the body of the mother, a third body is generated, the body of a son. As the elements of the material body are eternal, the living entity who appears through those material elements is also eternal. Please join me in prayer. Om Gyanati Mirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurum Militam Yena Tasmei Shri Gurave Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Svayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Svapadantikam He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gourangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanusute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Jayatam Surato Pangor Mama Manda Matergati Matsarvasva Padambujo Radha Madana Mohano Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Vanchakalpatarubhyasya kripa sindhubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. I was born in the darkness of ignorance, but my spiritual master with the torchlight of knowledge has opened my eyes. Therefore I offer him my respectful obeisances. So this is allegorical verse where Narada and Angira Muni explain that from one seed, another seed is coming. And in the same way, from one body, the body of the father, through the body of the mother, another body is coming, the body of the son. But he's saying it's actually the living entity do not have much connection with this different body. Huh? He said at the end, the living entity who appears, no. As the element of the material body are eternal, the living entity who appears through those material elements is also eternal. So he's mentioning that actually both the material element and the spiritual soul are eternal, which is a little bit like we always think, okay, material things is not eternal, it's temporary, but here it's actually described that the material elements are eternal because they are eternal in the sense of energy. The material energy and the spiritual energy both are actually spiritual. They are both actually from Krishna. Krishna is generating material and spiritual energy. In that sense, the two energy are also eternal, are fully eternal. But that shows us also the root of our philosophy, which is Achintya Abheda Abheda Tattva, which is simultaneously one and different. Simultaneously we hear the material nature is temporary or transforming, but at the same time we hear from here that it is eternal. So it's different perspective, and we can see in our life or maybe I could ask our junior devotee, our Emilio and Nino, what makes the difference between material and spiritual energy? What makes something to be material or something to be spiritual? Verstehen Sie? Ja?
Die materielle Energie ist vergänglich, spirituelle vergänglich.
Abhängig is dependent or
It's like
separated?
no, it's visible. It's not eternal.
Okay, good. What would you say, Nino? What makes the difference between material and spiritual?
Das eine ist halt materiell, das andere halt spirituell.
Okay, well, in one sense, everything is spiritual because it's all the energies of the Lord. So that's easy. In the other sense,
Die spirituelle Energie ist ewig.
yeah, okay. But what we will call material energy, yeah?
Spirituelle ist quasi endlich, die Energie. Bei Vergänglichen geht sie immer zu Ende. Egal, ob sie
Okay,
früher oder
okay,
später ist zum
okay,
Beispiel.
okay. And I had another point in mind, is that when material energy is used for our pleasure, then this material energy is binding us. But when we use material energy for the pleasure of the Lord, that it's not separated from the pleasure of the Lord, then it's spiritual. Like, for example, Prabhupada will give the example of the microphone. This is a material microphone, but being used in the service of Krishna is spiritual. And this is, I think, something in our life. I think in the beginning we see very much, okay, material, spiritual, and we have to do distinction, and we want to be more and more connected to spiritual. We want to transform everything, every material energy, we want to transform in spiritual energy. We want to offer everything to Krishna and engage everything in Krishna's service. But it's good as we develop our Krishna consciousness that we learn to develop this vision that everything is actually spiritual. That we don't make too many distinctions. Everything comes from the Lord, is the energy of the Lord, and we want to offer it back to the Lord and engage it into the Lord's service. Another point I wanted to say, because here we have about seed. I thought to speak about seeds. I hope seeds, Kerne, seeds? Yeah? Yeah? Or Samen? Huh? We will speak about seeds. I hope you like agriculture and plants and but in the Bhagavatam we have, or in the scripture we hear often about seeds, and one of them is Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita, where he say, anyone knows? I am the seed-giving Father. I am the one who give the life. I am the because seeds is the source of life. From the seeds the life will come. So Krishna said, I am the source, I am the Father, the seed-giving Father, the one who gives the seed of life, and all life is actually coming from me. And there is another place where we hear about the seeds, and this is the Bhakti Lata Beach, the seed of Bhakti, that we receive in I found three different ways of receiving the Bhakti Lata. One is by the mercy of Guru and Krishna. Barmhärtighet från Guru and Krishna du bekommen diese Samen, Bhakti Samen. And another is that by the instructions. By receiving the instruction of the spiritual master, you receive the Bhakti Lata. And the third one I found is the distributor of the Bhakti Lata, the one who gives Bhakti Lata, should be potent, should be a devotee, even a pure devotee, this is the best. And the receiver of the Bhakti Lata should be open, should be willing, should be desiring to receive the Bhakti Lata, and then the process works. So three different perspectives on how to receive this Bhakti Lata. And then the points come, and then once the Bhakti Lata is given, when the seed is there, then we need good cultivation. And this good cultivation is through Shravanam and Kirtanam, chanting the glory of the Lord and hearing. And I think this is something very important. You know, we were having Bhaktivinoda Thakur's Appearance Day some days ago, and he was in Jagannath Puri. He was actually overlooking the temple of Jagannath, and he established two things in Jagannath Mandir that was not there before. He established punctuality, that things should be on time, and he established Harikatha, regular Harikatha in Jagannath temple that was not there before. And sometimes we feel, okay, we are giving lecture here in Golokadam, maybe we are 1-2 devotees there, and maybe today I skip it anyway. Not many devotees are here who I should be there, and yeah. But it's actually giving. It has a very strong power into the whole temple, in the community, to have this regular Bhagavatam lecture. And I know it's an austerity sometimes to just take the time to sit and listen. Sometimes it's like, oh, I know already and I could do so many other things. But this is actually such a strong base for the cultivation of our bhakti seed, the seed of bhakti, this hearing, this reading, this taking the time, making priority for those spiritual activities so that our bhakti lata is well nourished. Like Nino, you were often very nicely giving water to the plants when it was very hot, and they grew so nicely. So in the same way, we should take very nice care of our bhakti lata, and at the same time we have to weed out, take away the bad grass. And these are the anarthas that are in our heart, so we should see them and we should try to remove them. Pray to the Lord that He will remove them. He has much more power than us to do that. So this is for the cultivation of the Bhakti Lata Beach. And when the Guru is giving these seeds, the Guru and the association of devotees actually giving us the way how to do the cultivation. He's explaining how to do the cultivation. And I noticed how all what we know, it is given by Vaishnavas. All that we know in Krishna consciousness is because of the Vaishnavas. I notice in my lecture, most of the things I'm saying, it's nothing to do with me. I'm repeating what the other Vaishnavas said. And it is actually their power, the power of the Vaishnava, that allow us to develop this Bhakti Lata. And the spiritual master or the devotees, they will tell us the tricks how to do. Because Bhakti, the cultivation of this Bhakti Lata, okay, simple, sit, hear, chant, and like this. But how will we apply that in our spiritual life? How will we apply this philosophy that we are hearing? Yesterday I was hearing from Bhutta Bhavana Prabhu, very, very wonderful devotee, and he was just hammering on this point. He said the philosophy of Krishna consciousness is good, but this is not so important. The important is how do you apply it? How do you apply the philosophy? If you don't come to a point of application of the philosophy, there is not much use of the philosophy. And I sometimes think when we hear lecture, when we read, we should be able to find out what is the application point that I take. What will I take from this lecture with me that I will try to apply during the day? We have to move as much as possible from the normal hearing to application, because this is the most important. And Bhutta Bhavana was explaining also this. He said bhakti can be done with the body and the mind, we do activity, or it can be done with the heart. But both is the best. When it's an activity, we can also do in the mind, but basically it should be an activity, but should be done with the heart. And there are two Sanskrit terms explaining that. One is chestarupa, which is the external activity of the service, and the other one is bhavarupa, which is the feeling, the emotions that we are putting into the service. And this is what the Vaishnavas are all the time reminding us. We have to go into this bhavarupa. The bhavarupa can be there, because we might think I'm doing service, it's all okay. And Bhutta Bhavana was saying sometimes you have book distributor, they distribute book, they are in the street, they say, I do the right thing, I do bhakti. But maybe they push the book, they are heavy with people, they are stealing or cheating while doing so. It's not bhakti, it's not really bhakti, unless this bhavarupa is there, or this attitude really to please the Lord, or to be compassionate for people to whom we give the books, then we it's not complete, it's not real bhakti. We need, and this is the Vaishnava association, this is the spiritual master, the other gardener who have much more experience than us, who help us and tell us how we should do devotional service, how we should do our bhakti. And the last thought I had about seed, which is actually very nice, it's in the 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, there is the pastime of Krishna stealing the clothes of the gopis. And at the end of this pastime, Shukadev Goswami said something very, very interesting. He said, if you have seeds and you fry them, you put them in a boiling oil, Then if you put the seed in the floor, it will not grow anymore. It's dead. The seed is dead. So Shukadev Goswami said, we also have seeds of karma. We have seeds of material enjoyment in our heart. And he said, if we hear the pastimes of the Lord, we are frying those seeds inside of our heart. And no way, they will not grow. Nothing will happen. They will just be destroyed. And that's also something I was thinking, maybe it's nice also sometimes, it's good philosophy, but it's also nice to hear about the pastimes of the Lord. And I was thinking, how can I connect the lecture of today with some pastime of the Lord? And I found something small, but I found it. I wanted to share with you something else that I learned about hearing of the pastimes of Radha and Krishna or Krishna. And we had the chance last week. We had the marriage of the sister of my wife in Italy, and then we thought it was Saturday afternoon. We thought, okay, let's drive and let's go to Villa Vrindavan. There was Radhanath Swami for Radhastami, so we went to Villa Vrindavan, and we were expecting Radhanath Swami to give lecture, and we were surprised to hear that Radhanath Swami was not going to give lecture. He had not given the day before. He was not going to give it on Radhastami. We thought, oh no, sorry, we came to hear Maharaj, and so on and so forth. But then there was Matsya Avatar Prabhu who gave a lecture. I was so impressed. And both of them, when you will see them, Radhanath Swami and Matsya Avatar Prabhu, just so elegant, just so conscious in everything they do. It's just like, also sometimes disciples of Prabhupada, they would say how Prabhupada will act, also very elegant, how he will drink from the cup, everything just so beautiful. It's almost like a dramatic performance, and you could see that also very much in Matsya Avatar Prabhu and Radhanath Swami. Anyway, Matsya Avatar Prabhu started Radhastami lecture in the morning, and he said, before speaking of the pastimes of Radha and Krishna and Radharani, there is one point we all need to know. And he was saying, Radha and Krishna's body are not made of flesh. Radha and Krishna's body are different. They are transcendental. They are full of spiritual energy. This is not the lower material energy, but this is the full spiritual energy. And I found just so simple, but it was just like so deep. When we hear about Krishna, we should be aware of that. Do you know what is flesh? You understand flesh? Do you know the German word for flesh? Fleisch? Ja, das ist die Körper von Radha und Krishna sind nicht Fleisch.
Ach, Fleisch.
Ja, Fleisch, ja. Ja, sie sind, so, wenn wir hören über Krishna, wir müssen immer verstanden, das ist nicht wie uns. Das ist etwas total Verschiedenes. Das ist die Tür für die Bereich von Lila. And then he said something I found also very interesting. He said, we should enter the pastimes with empathy. And empathy usually is a word that we can feel what others are feeling. Like if Nino is very unhappy and I see Nino and I can feel Nino is very unhappy, I have empathy for him. So Matsya Avatar was saying we should enter into the pastimes of the Lord when we listen by having empathy. Not meaning, I feel for you, but that we try to connect to the feeling that is happening in those pastimes. What are the feelings of Krishna while doing these pastimes? What are the feelings of the other bridge passes or the demons? What do they feel, the demons? And he was saying this is actually the way to enter into the pastimes, by connecting with the feelings. So when you hear about Krishna, wenn Sie über Krishna hören, das ist die Übung, versuchen zu denken, was Krishna fühlt, was Krishna fühlt, was Mother Yashoda fühlt, was ist die Gefühl da in die Pastimes? Das ist die Weg, wirklich über Krishna zu hören, über Krishna zu verbinden. Ich versuche ein bisschen in Deutsch. Anyway, I thought to share that because I found it's actually very relevant for our development of Bhakti Lata. And this I wanted to share because we hear about material and spiritual, and we see in the story of Brahma. Brahma had stolen the cowboys and the calves of Krishna, and he wanted to do that for his own benefit. He was thinking, I am much better. And then he could not have the vision. He could not have the vision that all those boys and all those calves were Krishna. He could not see. He could not see that. He was covered. And it's very beautiful when, after 1 year, when he came to see, and he saw all the boys, and but they are here. I kidnapped them, but they are here. So he went to the cave where he had put it, and he saw they are also here. They are also in Hurley. But then he came back and he looked, but they're also here. And then he got totally bewildered. And then the magic happened. Then the window of the spiritual world opened. And then Brahma could see suddenly all those forms. He could see the Vishnu form. He could see all the boys, all the calves having those forms of Vishnu. And then he saw Vrindavan. Come on, it was in Vrindavan. He could have seen Vrindavan, or he saw Vrindavan already, but he never really saw it before. But when the window opened, he could actually see Vrindavan. He could see the real Vrindavan. And that was like a very, very beautiful experience. He fell on the ground. He was overcome by ecstasy. He was beyond himself. He offered obeisances again and again and again and again. And so I wanted to share a little bit about these pastimes, connecting the material and spiritual energy and these thoughts from Matsyavatara Prabhu. And for the end, I want just to speak a little bit about Srila Prabhupada taking sannyas. Srila Prabhupada had a few dreams where Bhaktisiddhanta Sarasvati appeared, and Bhaktisiddhanta Sarasvati was giving signs to Prabhupada, come, follow me, come and take sannyas. And the first dream, those dreams were very powerful for Prabhupada. And Prabhupada said, I was horrified. I did not want that. And the first time he had the dream, he thought, but I'm just now getting my business good, and I want to get a lot of money to print books to fulfill instruction of you, my Guru Maharaj. So not now, maybe later, but not now. And then he had another time a dream, same dream, Bhaktisiddhanta calling, please come and take sannyas. And then Prabhupada said, well, now I have 5 children. I cannot just quit everything. I have to provide for them. I have to take care for them. But then the whole business went away. And Prabhupada had heard Bhaktisiddhanta Sarasvati. There is a very famous verse that explains that Yasyaham anu grinami harishye tat danam shanai tato danam tyantyasya svajana dukkhadukitam. That Krishna said, when I want to give my special mercy, not ordinary mercy, special mercy, I take away everything from my devotees. So Prabhupada was seeing his business was getting down and down and down, and he had all the time this verse coming, and he was seeing his Guru Maharaj speaking this verse, and he understood, okay, now it's time for another stage in my life. Prabhupada once said that Krishna tested me. He tested me by taking everything away from me, and later he tested me by giving me everything. That was also a test from Krishna. Anyway, then when everything fell down, Prabhupada understood, okay. He reflected, because he got a third dream where Bhaktisiddhanta Sarasvati came and again said, and then Prabhupada thought, yeah, but I'm already, because sannyasi means you give body, mind, words fully for Krishna. And he said, I'm already doing that. I don't, why do I need to take sannyas? But then he remembered that Bhaktisiddhanta Sarasvati had taken sannyas for preaching. He took sannyas himself. Bhaktisiddhanta Sarasvati took sannyas, I mean, from a dream, but he did not have like a physical guru giving him sannyas. But he was showing the example for preaching. We will need that. For preaching, we will need that. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu did the same. Also for the sake of preaching, he took sannyas for the sake of preaching. And then first Srila Prabhupada approached Gaudiya Math, Chaitanya Math, and asked to receive sannyas. And they say, yes, we will give you sannyas, but first you have to stay here and you have to serve under Chaitanya Math. You are not independent. You have to be under Chaitanya Math. You have to stay here, and we will give you good room, but you have to work under us. And Prabhupada said, yes, I will try. So Prabhupada tried to work under the Gaudiya Math, but he was feeling urgency. He was, I have to go. And there was wait. And then he left, and then he met Bhakti, what is his full name? Pragyan Keshava. Bhakti Pragyan Keshava Maharaj. And Bhakti Pragyan Keshava Maharaj said, I will give you now, immediately. And then Prabhupada said, oh, but maybe not now, right now, maybe later. Prabhupada was not so eager to take. And Bhakti Pragyan Keshava Maharaj said, no, do it right now. And then he gave him sannyas, and then after that Prabhupada came to the West. So this is actually a very, very beautiful day today. Sannyas of Vishwarup, sannyas of Srila Prabhupada, and maybe we can also take sannyas. Huh? Should we take sannyas today? No, not too early. Later. But in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna said that sannyasi is the one who is not attached to the fruit of his action. Therefore, we should all become sannyasis by not become attached to the fruits of our activities. And that can be a takeaway, application point, at least today. At least today, you check out all what you are doing if you want the fruits for you. And most probably it will be like this. Then you say, okay, Krishna, the fruit is for you. I give it to you. That's the one takeaway for today application. And also in the lecture we heard about Chestarupa, a cultivation of the Bhakti Lata Bij. Take time to read, take time to chant properly. Don't multitask, don't do little chanting here, little chanting there. No. Wake up early, Mangalarati, chant all year round in a row with concentration. We have received this Bhakti in our heart. This is most precious. We don't have anything more precious than this Bhakti in our heart. Everything else is nothing. So we should put priority into our spiritual practice, cultivate this Bhakti Lata Bij very, very nicely. So that's for today. I don't know if you have any questions, any comments. Sie können auch in Deutsch fragen. Auch in Russisch, aber kann ich verstanden. Good. Then, wish you a wonderful day. Garam Tarat Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai.